Elon Musk and I talked within about an hour ago, and we talked about the extraordinary challenges of this job. And I said, hey, you want to be Speaker of the House? I don't know. He said, this may be the hardest job in the world.
Sure seems like it. Using his new political power, Elon Musk flexed on congressional Republicans, spread misinformation about the plan on X, and then the chaos nearly threw the government into a shutdown tonight. Taken all together, it makes him look like a new kind of oligarch. As The Atlantic puts it, quote, Musk has achieved an advantage that outstrips the standards of normal oligarchs. Thanks to X, he has the ability, perhaps second only to Trump's, to design America's political reality. Jillian and Bill are still here. Just think about that, right? We're saying Elon Musk has cozied up to Trump and he's going to get anything he wants. But in a sense, we joke about this President Musk. Does Musk have Trump under his thumb? He's the richest guy in the world. He has the ability to push any message he wants on X. Who's the daddy here?
It's a really interesting question because there's a view around the Trump team that, in fact, it was Musk that was the critical element that won them the election, because he not only showed up with enormous checks, he showed up with this very effective ground game, which was absolutely critical in terms of getting out the votes. And, of course, he has his megaphone. He's not just an oligarch, he's a tech oligarch who can use all the digital communication platforms to broadcast messages even more effectively than Trump. And that's astonishing. Essentially, Trump is being out-tweeted almost every day right now. And, you know, that gives him extraordinary power. And as everyone says, the big question is, can this bromance last or not?
Do you think it will?
No, because I think Trump likes the attention and the publicity even more than Elon does, and he won't want to compete with Elon for that attention and that publicity. So it's useful during this period before the inauguration, but I think after the inauguration, you know, Elon's going to go back to doing what Elon's doing, and Trump is going to take charge again.
I don't know that I believe that. Look at this week. Elon is now weighing in on European politics, voicing his support for far-right political candidates over there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been quite remarkable what's been happening in the last few weeks, because not only have you now got very publicly Elon Musk coming out in support of the AfD, the Alternative for Germany, which is the far right of the German political spectrum. You've also had him cozying up to people like Farage, who is the person that many people would see as a key flashpoint for a far-right movement in the UK. The British Conservatives, that just got beaten very badly in the elections, are extremely concerned about this, because if Musk did indeed win Trump the election through his ground game and his money and his communication styles, if he starts unleashing that in Europe, you could see extraordinary consequences. And remember, right now, both France and Germany are in political turmoil. We have this astonishing... And Canada, exactly. They're falling by ninepence. I mean, you know, it's like Trump is treating this like a kind of sport by threatening them all one by one to see what happens, just to show how powerful he is. And we have this bizarre situation that Italy, remember, Italy is now emerging as a bastion of political stability under Meloni.
Wow.
Who would have guessed?
And, you know, Elon Musk could, in fact, become Speaker of the House. You don't have to be a member of Congress.
Can you explain this to our audience? Because this is so important.
Yeah, I mean, you'll remember when the Republicans were trying to make Mike Johnson Speaker of the House, people were talking about, well, Donald Trump.
How about Donald Trump
as a private citizen? So, I mean, Elon Musk would have no aptitude for the job. Of course, I'm not sure Mike Johnson does either. And
I'm not sure he'd have the interest. Why
to be Speaker of the House?
Okay, ready? Why would Elon Musk, need to be Speaker of the House? He gets everything he wants right now with no responsibilities that he doesn't like, right? If he doesn't like what's happening with this tomorrow, he can get on his rocket ship and leave. If you're Speaker of the House, you actually have work to do.
Yeah, but you'd also be, you know, fairly powerful, third in line for the presidency. That might be as close as he ever gets. I mean, he wouldn't be very good at it.
I mean, but remember,
hold on. This is a guy...
right now, I think he's closer in line to the presidency than Mike Johnson is. Well, not in name, but in influence.
But this is a guy, remember, who believes that his hard-charging style, his focus on outcome, not process, can win him anything. Nobody who believed in the limits of their ability would have taken over Twitter. Not in a million years.
Well, he didn't want to take it over, remember, in the end. He had to take it over.
But, I mean, this is really fundamentally this cultural clash between someone who believes that if you are aggressive enough as an entrepreneur, if If you focus on outcomes, the end justifies the means. You move fast, you break things, you do whatever it takes to build a company, whatever it takes. He thinks he can actually transplant that into the political world.
But government doesn't work like that.
Well, here's what's fascinating, is that America for the last few decades has had this fantastically dynamic private sector driven by entrepreneurs like Elon Musk that's been the envy of the world. It's also had a government that seems dysfunctional most of the time that people don't trust. So you have this really contrasting story in America right now. And somehow we've just kind of carried on jogging along with that contrast. And yet now you have people like Musk essentially trying to have a takeover of government by the private sector entrepreneurs who appear to have driven so much success in America in recent years.
And why do you think business leaders right now are not afraid of any backlash, right? So in 2016, they knew they had to deal with Trump, but they didn't want to go to the White House. They were anxious about joining business councils because they didn't want to face boycotts from customers or employees. Donald Trump won fair and square, but it wasn't a landslide. Why don't they have that fear now?
I think in 2016 there was such shock that most people thought this was temporary. It was like a burst of extreme, insanity if you didn't like it, or extreme victory for a period of time if you did. And people thought that it would die down and would go away. I think now people realize that actually the second time that Donald Trump has gone back into the White House will be a sign that the entire zeitgeist of the country is shifting. This is becoming normalized. The whole way we imagine politics is changing. And populism is no longer a dirty word at all. And that's going to be there for a long time.
Well, and I also think that he's very transactional. He's shown himself to be very transactional. CEOs can be very transactional, too.
They are very transactional.
That's by their very nature. So why not be, cozy up to this guy and get what you want and then, be done and not have him be on your bad side?
But that's it. Even if you don't get what you want, at least go down there so you're not his target.
Exactly. Because if you're his target, he's going to make life miserable for you because he enjoys it too much.
My God. Thank you both so much.
It's a Tudor court.
But just how about, can we just say that again? He'll make you his target because he enjoys it.